The Ultimate Fighter 28 finale, the Sanos versus Usman. This is going to be on Friday, guys, November 30th at 10 p.m. And I also noticed that it's going to be double headers, man. So Friday, they got the Ultimate Fighter. And on Saturday, they have the Sanos versus Titus Vaso. Right? So it's going to be a good week of fights, man. Both double headers right here. All right, so we're going to predict and break these fights down. Keep this momentum going, keep it flowing. On the Ultimate Fighter finale here, I believe it was Robert Whittaker and what's that guy name? And Kevin Gastelum was the trainers for that. But to be honest with you guys, I didn't even watch the show, to be honest with you. But you know, which is called the heavy hitters too. You know, Ultimate Fighter 28. But for right now, they only have 10 guys on there. But I believe they're gonna probably add 1 or 2 more guys from off the show, right? Yeah, man. So let's go with this, man. Let's get this party started. By looking at the card, man, you know, a couple fights on there was, you know, pretty easy to predict. You know, I didn't really have to watch much fights, but I, you know, still went back and take a little glance on a couple fights. But majority of the card was actually pretty easy to break down and predict, man. It could be one of the easiest ones for me so far for the year, right? Yeah, man, so let's get this started. I'm going to use Topology because Topology is just more up to date. The new platform for the UFC website, man, I'm not really liking it too much because it's too much clicking. You know, it's too much going back and forward. You know, the way how the original site was, is everything was just there in front of you, right? It's too much tallying back and forward, and it just takes too much time, right? You know, they say if something ain't broken, why fix it, right? I think they're just updating it just to update, just to make it new. You know how things are, and they feel like when something is new, it's better. But that's not true, man. You know, a lot of, well, stuff that's considered to be old and old style is better than the new style, in my opinion. It all depends on how you perceive it, though. But the way how this platform is right now, it makes it harder to go through and then try to look at the fighters and try to figure things out on the website. The original platform was a way more easier and way more colorful. You know, this is just like strolling down, you gotta click one guy, go to the next page and go to the next. It's just too many steps, basically. Too many steps, right? You gotta do this to get to this, and that. The original site was just bam, right there in front of you. Maybe 2 steps you need to take on the original site. Where on the new site, you gotta do like 10 different things just to get to one thing. It's crazy. All right, but again, it is what it is, right? Just get this started, man. Get this party started, right? Here we go. First fight on the card here. We have Justin Frazier versus Juan Espino. I believe these guys were off of the show. The Ultimate Fighter 28. Heavy hitters, right? Check out Justin Frazier here. Both heavy guys, man. Like I mentioned, guys, with heavy guys, heavyweights, you will never know. Just like Nagano versus Blades, you never know because you could just take one hit, and the guy goes down. Even if the guy's supposed to win, even if the guy was winning, just that one punch could just end everything. This guy here, he has a wrestling background, and he pushes. He's a grinder, and he has a wrestling background too. I think I mentioned that, right? So he's a grinder, and he pushes forward, right? I mean, that's basically it. I mean, he's heavy-handed too. You know, you will come in there and swing the punches well and try to look for your chin to knock you out. I mean, that's basically it. He's a big guy, right? His opponent here, Juan Espino, he's coming from American Top Team, so in my opinion, he's at a better camp. Gonna be the older dude in there. As I said, age's a number. It all depends on how you perform, right? He's gonna have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background though, so his ground game, from what I've seen, is pretty technical. His ground is very technical. The only thing that now with this fight, man, where it's kind of back and forth, and because his opponent there, Frazier, he's a grinder, he's a wrestler, and you know sometimes with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, you know if the wrestler can grind on you, then they would take you down, and then you would be off your back trying to look for submissions, and if you can't get submissions, then you end up losing the fight. And with Frazier, if Frazier take him down, then he could hit him too and ground and pound him on the ground. So that's the thing about this fight. It's a 50-50. Like I said, it's a heavyweight fight too. But the more technical guy here, in my opinion, is Juan Espino. I feel he's a more technical guy coming from an American top team, which is a known camp, and you know it's good for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is Jiu-Jitsu is very good. It's nice. He's very technical. His takedowns are good. He's just as aggressive as Frazier is, but then there is a punches kind of chance here where Frazier maybe could hit him with something, you know. And then there's also the next thing where Frazier could just push and grind him with the wrestling, and then Espino could go to the ground and then be on his back and just get ground and pounded, or just be on his back for 3 rounds, and then Frazier win the fight. So that's possible too. Like I mentioned, sometimes with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, if you have a good wrestler in there who can avoid the submissions, sometimes the wrestler will pull it off. All right, this could be one of those fights, guys. Again, in my opinion, the more technical guy here is Juan Espino. The more heavy hitter, I would say, is Justin Frazier. And the better ground specialist, I would say, is Espino, who will look for the submissions to finish the fight. Justin Frazier will look for submissions too. But it's a tough one to call here. But this is a fight that you could also fade, you know, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely a fight that you can fade too. Yeah, I must say, I'm gonna go with Juan Espino. I feel like he's just a more technical guy here. You know, he's gonna have the better ground game, the better submission game. His movement is a little better than Justin is. Justin has come straight forward and just push against the cage and just grind, which, you know, he could win the fight with that. But I'm gonna go with a more technical guy here, and the more technical guy to me is Juan Espino, and I'm gonna say Juan Espino by submission, guys. All right, that's what I got here. Again, it's a fight that you probably could fade because they're both, you know, heavyweights, and you never know, it could go either way, man. You know, as I said, Justin Frazier could come in here and just use wrestling and take down Espino and just ground and pound him, possibly knock him out, or possibly can win the fight by those takedowns. But again, he has to avoid the submissions from Espino, though. Because Espino could reverse, he could scramble, and then get Frazier in a bad position, and that's where the submission can come in. But I must say Espino by submission, guys. Okay. Next fight up here, we got Rick Glenn versus Kevin Aguilar. And this fighter is a last minute. He just got put together because he was supposed to be Arnold Allen versus somebody else. It's supposed to be Arnold Allen versus Gilbert Melendez, and then Melendez fell off, and then Arnold Allen versus Rick Glenn, and then Arnold Allen fell off. And then Rick Glenn was there, and then they just threw in Kevin Aguilar. So both of these guys is kind of at the last minute, right? Rick Glenn, crafty dude, lengthy, you know, trained out a team Alpha Male now. I mean, he's a crafty dude, man. They go in there and, you know, not the best striker in my opinion, you know, kind of unorthodox with it, in a way where it works for him. You know, he would look for takedowns. He would take a lot of hits though. But against Kevin Aguilar though, Kevin Aguilar came off the Contender Series. This fight here is like any fight. It could go either way, to be honest. The more experienced, in my opinion, is going to be Rick Glenn. He's going to be the more experienced guy. But just the matchup here, like I said, guys, stylistically, the matchup, it all depends on who you're matching up with. I feel like Kevin Aguilar will give Rick Glenn problems, and us mostly in the striking department, because Rick Glenn striking is not the best, and he eats a lot of hits. And Aguilar is going to throw punches at him, and Aguilar is going to hit him with punches, straightforward. So he came off the Contender Series, got a split over Joey Gomez, who was undefeated. He beat Than Lee, who Than Lee is a pretty good striker, pretty good martial artist. I'm gonna go with Aguilar on this one. I'm gonna go with Kevin Aguilar. Again, Rick Glenn got the experience, but just the matchup, man. I feel this matchup will give Rick Glenn problem, because the fight starts standing up, the striking. Rick Glenn could probably take down Kevin Aguilar, but Kevin Aguilar ground defense, is not bad, and he would scramble and get back to his foot. So I think there's a reach and height in this one too. Rick Glenn gonna have the height, 6 foot 70 inches reach. That could play a factor, but again, Rick Glenn is not like the best striker. It's not like he's gonna be using his reach properly and all these things. He actually doesn't, right? 5'7". The reach is pretty close. It's an inch off, but he's 5'7". He's gonna be the shorter guy. But I like Aguilar for this one, and I must say Kevin Aguilar by decision, man, because Glenn is a crazy dude. He eats a lot of hits, and keep coming forward. Has a herky jerky style with his head bobbing back and forward. But we'll see what happens though. But I like Aguilar by decision. All right, this is gonna be his debut too, into the UFC from the Contender Series. So we'll see what happens with that one. Next fight up, we got Ronnie Barcelos versus Chris Gutierrez. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Gutierrez. Alright, this fight is a very close fight, guys. Ronnie Barcelos, I like how he looks, man. His last fight against Kurt Hollowback, man, it was a pretty damn good fight, man. He hit him with a nasty uppercut. Knocked him out, actually. Ronnie Barcelos, black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his ground is nice, his striking is nice. Pretty well-rounded guy, man. His opponent here, Chris Gutierrez, doesn't look bad either. Has a striking background. He's got heavy leg kicks. His ground, when matchup with two, all depends on the matchup. His ground could be the weakness in this fight. He has one by submission. That's the only one he has though. But Ronnie is more known for the ground. He has one also. But he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he usually works the ground well. That's the only thing I could see that could give Chris problems. Striking could be kind of even still. From what I've seen and footages. As I said, Chris, he got some kickboxing, some Muay Thai stand-up, heavy leg kicks. It's an even fight, man. Both are pretty well-rounded guys, man. And I think this is going to be Chris' debut into the UFC. So both guys are pretty well-rounded. So yeah. Oh man. It's a tough one to call. Chris could definitely pull this off, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what the odds are. I don't look at odds until I finish my homework. It's a tough one to call, guys. This one could definitely go both ways. I'm gonna go with Ronnie Barcelos for the win on that one, guys. I'm gonna go with Ronnie Barcelos. Yeah. As I said, this one is I'm not confident in this one, because definitely Chris can pull it off. Both pretty good fighters, man. They're both pretty well rounded. slight edge on the ground towards Barcelos though. Striking wise, kind of even, right? Kind of even. Chris would throw more heavy leg kicks though, which he's probably going to use in this fight. Let's see the height and the reach. You're gonna have the height. I think he has a reach too. 69 inches. Yeah, he got the reach too. Got 2 inches. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ronnie Barcelos. I'm gonna say Ronnie Barcelos by decision. I think he edged out a little bit. You know, he got a little bit more on the ground. He fought in the UFC. You know, got a win already. You know, and I believe he fought more well-known guys. He has a little bit more experience than what Chris Gutierrez has, right? From what I see, yeah, he got a huge amateur background though. Damn, huge amateur, but he's fighting guys that's 0-0-0. See, you know, you can have a huge background amateur and have wins, but you gotta see the guys and you're fighting. You know, guys with all 0-0-0-0-0. You know, even his pro record, I mean, it's all right. You know, yeah, I mean, it's okay. You fight guys with more wins than losses. So, even though he ain't really fighting nobody though. But I'm gonna go with Ronnie Barcelos. I'm gonna say Ronnie Barcelos. What I said, guys, by decision. All right, let's move on to the next fight. Sorry that I stalled so much on that one, man. It's just sometimes, guys, like I said, it's very difficult sometimes when you hit fights like this with guys who are so even. It's just unless I have a crystal ball, Robin, you know, to come up with a conclusion for that one is tough. You know, so that's why I would tell you I'm not confident in it, or go under, or I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know who's the underdog in this one. Like I said, I don't think the betting odds are even out yet for this entire card. Like I said, I don't like looking at the odds either, because that would just confuse you even more. Because then you start going by what the odds say, and then you're not really thinking for yourself, and then you're just picking the odds. You know. But I like Ronnie Barcelos, and like I said, I will be making that betting odd sheet where I talk about, you know, if the guys are too high or guys are too low, and then, you know, I try to explain to you, you should leave this guy out or you should add this guy. I might make a different video for that. Okay, let's keep going here. Next fight up, we got Roosevelt Roberts versus Darryl Harper. In the beginning, I never really knew who Roosevelt Roberts was, but when I watched him in the Contender series, I'm like, okay, you know, his earlier fights, I wasn't too impressed with it because there was a lot of amateur fights, but I just wasn't really impressed. But I mean, even amateurs, I mean, he fought some guys, you know, with some wins, right? And even his pro debut, his pro fights, you know, he fights some guys too, you know. Tall guy, you know, he's very tall, very elusive, athletic, very aggressive. I mean, his ground game looks good too, you know. Pull off a rear naked choke over Grant Gross. So, I mean, I think Grant Gross is pretty much, he fought a lot of guys, I think. Has he? Yeah, Belal Hamad. I mean, he has Marcus Aurelio. Yeah, he fought some guys, even though he lost to them. But, you know, he has experience. For this fight here, man, I guess his opponent, you know, if you remember, been in a bad bike accident. Darryl Harper, you know, and he came back and everything was okay, you know, but a lot of injuries on him. Been out of the sport for a little bit because of that injury. Believe he took out, when was it? He fought 15. As I see here, he hasn't been really fighting that much. Fought three times, 2 times in 15, 1 time in 16. Then he took out, came back 17, fought 2 times 17, and then came back in 2018. I feel like this fight here, Roosevelt gonna be too much for him, in a sense of just athleticism and height, aggressiveness. You know, pushing forward, putting him in the clinch, taking him down, and just beating him up. I feel that's what's gonna happen. Again, I could be wrong. But just by watching how Darryl Harper look now, you know, it doesn't really look the same. You know, again, Scott Osman didn't look too good. He got a split decision over Devon Powell, so that fight could have went either way. You know, so the more experienced guy here obviously is going to be Harsher, because Harsher fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, you know. So, I mean, he had that experience from Khabib, but again, you know, he's not consistent, and it doesn't look as good after the Khabib fight. You know, even though he win by Devon Powell is not that good of a fighter to be going to a split with. You know, that should be a fight he should have won easily, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with Roosevelt. I just feel like he's just gonna be the more athletic guy. You know, the guy that's gonna push forward, the height and reach, take him down, and beat him up. You know, he's gonna be the quicker guy in there, a more elusive dude in there, and I believe his ground game is pretty decent too. So I'm gonna go with Roberts, and I'm gonna say by decision, guys. All right, let's keep going. We got Edmen Shahbazyan versus Darren Stewart. Edmen was in a contender series, which I believe is coming out of the Glendale gym. You guys remember the Glendale Fighting Club, right? Where Ronda Rousey used to train at, right? Head movement, right? Edmen. Okay, so checked out Edmen Shahbazyan for a long time. We're watching him, you know, when these guys were small, they were, I believe, were brothers. You know, I mean, they've been training for a long time. I mean, he's not bad, man. He's pretty well rounded. His striking is pretty legit, pretty heavy-handed. He would tie you up in the clinch and land knees and take you down and beat you up. Young guy though, he's only 21. He's young, man. Against Darren Stewart though, thing about Darren Stewart, he would drop the ball. You know, sometimes he's on and sometimes he's off. But he's been on now for the last two fights, right? Beat Charles Bird, which a lot of people probably had Charles Bird winning that fight. And he beat Eric Spicely, which, you know, a lot of people thought that Eric Spicely would have probably submitted him because he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak, and all last 2 fights were by rear naked chokes. But for this fight here, though, I mean, Darren Stewart, I mean, he come in there and he will fight. He will throw down, but I feel that this kid here is going to be the future. I feel like he's going to move up the division and then possibly be something. Even though it's coming out of the Glendale Fighting Club, which right now, you know, just have a bad reputation. But it's a young guy still. You know, I must say Edmen for the win on that one. I feel that Edmen is gonna possibly knock him out. Gonna knock out Darren, in my opinion. Again, both guys heavy strikers. You know, Darren is a heavy striker. Come in there and throw them hooks on you. And the hook catch you and knock you out. You know, Darren a little more wild with it. Edmen a little bit more tighter. You know, he would tie up and clinch and then land the elbows and land the knees. It's going to be a taller guy in there with the reach advantage too, which can play a factor. I think I have it 2 inches, and then the reach could be pretty close. Yeah, I think the reach could be pretty close, like 2 inches. I think he has 2 inches. No, actually the reach is the same. Actually, wow. Thought he had a little bit more reach than that, but he's gonna have the 2 inch height. So let's see what happened though, man. I mean, I say Edmen by KO/TKO, but it could be an upset on this one. Stewart could possibly pull it off, so be aware of this one, right? But I'm not too confident with it, but be aware of it though. But I still feel that this Edmen kid, probably the future kind of, and probably gonna move up the ladder, and then, you know, you never know, maybe might challenge for the championship. But I must say Edmen by KO/TKO. Okay, next fight up. We got Tim Means versus Ricky Rainey. Tim Means, Dirty Bird. Tim Means been winning a lot of fights by split decision, man. Like, if you know the fight goes split decision, I mean, it could go either way. You know, split decision, Sergio Moraes, split decision by Belal Muhammad. It's a lot of split decision fights he'll be winning, right? And against Ricky Rainey, Ricky Rainey is a guy that I'm just not too impressed with him, to be honest with you. This is not much to talk about. I mean, Muslim Shevchenko knocked him out clean. I mean, it's a fight that Tim Means supposed to can win, or he should win it, in my opinion. You know, Tim Means is gonna be the more experienced guy, and there's gonna be the more well-rounded guy as far as ground and stand-up. So he's supposed to can win this, man. This is a fight for him to win, in my opinion. Again, you never know. You know, he could go split decision and Rainey wins it. But I must say, Tim Means, you know, more experienced guy here is Tim Means. The more well-rounded guy, in my opinion, is Tim Means. You know, Tim Means gonna have the ground. 18 knockout, 4 by submissions. I believe Rainey doesn't have a submission. He has 1 submission, 7 knockouts. You know, I mean, Tim Means had a massive knockouts, 18. I must say Tim Means, guys. But again, you know, you never know. You know, he'd be going to a lot of split decisions and losing. So, you know, again, I'm just not impressed with Ricky Rainey. I don't like the way he strikes. He would be striking and then fall down, or he kicks and then he catches his foot and can throw him down. And if he does it against Tim Means gonna capitalize on that. You can't really make a mistake with guys like Tim Means, because those guys are very experienced. You trip and fall down. That's just, you know, Tim Means gonna see that and then capitalize on it. Like, oh man, this guy's falling down. Okay, there's a good chance for me to jump on his back and submit him. So this fight could probably be a submission, or it could be a decision. It could be either one, or even a knockout. I believe Tim Means can finish it in any way. But I must say by decision, though. Okay, I must say Tim Means win by decision. Okay, next fight up here, we got Joseph Benavidez versus Alex Perez. Interesting fight here. The way how Joseph Benavidez looked against the Pettis brothers, Sergio Pettis, it just didn't look good to me, man. Even though some say that he won the fight, but he struggled to get takedowns. Striking was just horrible. He was just getting hits by punches. The only reason why he didn't get knocked out because Sergio don't pack the power. That's it. Sergio is a guy that when he hits, there's some power behind it, but then he peppers you. And that's why he loses a lot of his fights when he gets taken down when he fights wrestlers who can take him down. You know, and that's why he ended up losing those fights. I Juicer from Mega, because he doesn't pack the power of that one-hit quitter. You know, Henry Cejudo, the same thing. Just Benavidez was doing that, but you know, along the way he was starting to gas out and wasn't able to consistently take him down like that. And when he does take down Sergio, he lets Sergio get back up. See, that could be a problem, right? When he fights Alex Perez, that can be a big problem. Benavidez also been out the game for a little bit. He didn't fight no time in 17 and came back in 18, right? I don't know, dudes. I mean, the way how we look against Sergio is, man, it just didn't look good. And the way how he was striking, this doesn't look good. I believe he was out for injury. I believe he had a knee injury, I think. What was it, a knee injury? Man, a knee injury. I believe he had surgery or something like that. It was either a knee or something. I know it was a surgery though. For me, for this fight, I like Alex Perez. I mean, Alex Perez is just very well-rounded guy. He showed it against Taurus. I mean, he freaking beat up Taurus, knocked him out. Jose Taurus was a guy that's, he was a prospect. He was like one of those guys who was supposed to come in the UFC and just be this big dude in there, win championships, most likely challenge Demetrius Johnson. But Demetrius Johnson left, but he got knocked out. So I mean, huge amateur background. Look at his amateur, huge amateur background. His professional is not too bad either, but he lost to Alex Perez, which he went toe to toe with Alex, and Alex Perez has power. That's the thing. Alex Perez got the power behind the punches, man. If Benavidez goes in there and then try to stand in front of Alex and then strike, Benavidez possibly can get knocked out. And I believe he got knocked out one time. You can't go toe to toe with Alex Perez. He's gonna have to push a takedown. And Alex Perez, in my opinion, is just very well rounded. Even though he has been submitted, though. Alex Perez has been submitted. So that's the thing about this fight. On paper, Alex Perez is supposed to win, but again, Joseph Benavidez can pull off submissions. He lost by submissions by three by submissions, I believe. Yeah, but that was early. It's 2016, 2015, back-to-back guillotine choke, armbar. I mean, as I said, man, sometimes things look the way it's supposed to look, and it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be, but then it doesn't happen that way. Joseph Benavidez has 9 by submissions, only been knocked out 1 time, so you never know, man. If Benavidez come in here and then grind, he possibly could pull the fight off. But from what I see from him with Sergio Pettis, it doesn't look good. And if he does what he did with Sergio Pettis and try to do that with Alex, Alex is going to win the fight. Benavidez will lose this fight if he fights the way how he fights Sergio. So he can't fight that way. I mean, Alex is just going to sprawl on him and just keep it standing up and beat him up. I'm not sure if Alex will finish him, which is very possible. But I'm going to say Alex wins by decision, man. So I don't know what Joseph Benavidez is going to do differently. He's probably going to be more aggressive, probably with takedowns. Maybe might sharpen up his striking, but I mean, when was the last time did he fight Sergio? That was June, 2018. So that is not too long ago, man. So I see Alex winning. But again, anything is possible in this game. Like I always said, things look the way it's supposed to look on paper, and the matchups look at that. The guy come off the loss in his last fight, or win off his last fight, didn't look too impressive, and then match up with a guy that looked impressive in his 2 fights, but you never know. He could come in here and grind out Alex and probably submit him. But I'm going to say Alex Perez by a decision, guys. All right? Next fighter, we got Antonio Shevchenko versus Yeon Kim. This is a good matchup here. And again, like I mentioned, Antonio Shevchenko was supposed to fight Ashley Evans Smith. So Yeon Kim is coming in at the last minute, right? Anthony Smith dropped off the card, right? Or Evan Smith dropped off the card, right? For this one, the matchup here, Yeon Kim has a ground game. She has proper Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which, if she come up with a good game plan, she could just use that. Just take down. But in all her fights, she like to stand up in all her fights. So it is what it is, Lucy Pendanova kind of resembles a little bit like Shevchenko as far as the body structure and the height and the reach is similar to Shevchenko. And you see what Lucy Pendanova did to her. It's basically put her against a cage, tie clinch her up, throw knees, elbows, and just be rugged with her. And Tanya Silva coming from kickboxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo background, which she's going to implement that. So it's going to be similar to what Pendanova did. So she's going to take her, put her against a cage, throw knees, elbows. And like I said, Yeon Kim doesn't really look for takedowns like that. She has submission game, but she don't look for it though. If she change up the game plan and come in with a smart game plan, let's implement takedowns and just trying to look for submissions, it's possible. It's possible because, again, we don't really see Shevchenko too much on the ground. At least Antonio, we don't see her much on the ground. When she get taken down, from the last Contender Series show, she get back up, and she was looking for, I believe, for some submissions too, from what I remember. But her specialty is more to stand up. It's an interesting fight, but I feel that Antonio is supposed to win this one, in my opinion. She's supposed to get this fight. By the way, how Yeon Kim fight, she's supposed to win this fight. Supposed to. As long as she avoid the takedowns and avoid getting submitted, she's supposed to win. As I said, Yeon Kim has 3 by submission. So, striking wise, I favor Antonio. I feel like she's just a more well-rounded striker as far as more technical. Mix up the techniques better. She uses the hands, set up the kicks set up the hands. More variety, more toolbox in there. Right? She's able to control the kicks from different angles, and she's set up better. Yeon Kim is more on the boxing, and she will land uppercuts, hooks. I mean, she's not bad, but she's a little bit more stiffer with it. Antonio is more free-flowing, more relaxed with the techniques, right? And she throw more volume, in my opinion. Yeon Kim sometimes waits a lot, and Yeon Kim take too much hits coming in. She moves her head at times, but then sometimes her head is straight to get hit. She's right in that center line, and Antonio is gonna just land punches straight down and kicks. Her mwashigiri, her front kicks, gonna land it straight down. Antonio would also work the legs, knees. I said, this is a fight that she's supposed to win. She just needs to avoid getting taken. She can't get taken down in this fight. And cardio. She has to have the cardio. She has to keep the cardio going. Like I said, you can have all the techniques and the striking you want, but if you don't have no gas tank, and the other person just more savvy, more the grinder, and might not be the best striker like you, they will win the fight just on cardio and conditioning. Right? So Antonio better make sure her conditioning is on point, because Yeon Kim will push forward and keep going and keep going and keep going. So it's gonna be a good fight, but I'm gonna say Antonio Shevchenko for the win, but still be careful with it, man, because you never know. I say Antonio, good striker, but when it comes to the ground, it all depends on the matchup now. I would say Kim gonna have the better ground, in my opinion. Striking wise, I favor Shevchenko for the striking. So, it's always can be an upset, man. Remember that. Always can be an upset. But I like Shevchenko for the win. I'm gonna say Shevchenko by decision. Alright? Next fight up here, we got Pedro Munhoz versus Bryan Caraway. It's our next fight too. When I saw, I'm like, Pedro Munhoz is supposed to can pull this off, which he is. Push forward guy, heavy striker, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, crazy on the ground. His fight against Brett Jones was freaking insane. I mean, insane fight, man. Just putting Brett Jones in positions and beating him up and all these different things. It's a crazy fight, man. Munhoz will stay in front of you though and just bang it out, strike it out, man. I mean, he comes to fight, dude. Bryan Caraway will do the similar thing too. He'll come in there and then throw down too, man. The only thing that I feel Pedro Munhoz is gonna be more the durable guy here, right? Better ground, I would say, is Munhoz too. Has a better ground game. Bryan Caraway, he will come forward. If he's coming forward like that, yeah, I favor Munhoz for the win. You see, when you have guys like John Dodson who's going to move around and pick shots and look for openings, like Jimmy Rivera and those guys, Munhoz doesn't do good against those guys because they're moving and they're hitting and staying up the center line, and then, Munhoz just want to come in there and just throw down, and if you don't give him that kind of fight, then he has to chase it down. Why chasing him down? Or you chasing the person, and the person like John Dodson is like hitting him with strikes, hitting him with strikes, and then pull off decisions, get split decisions, The same thing with Rafael Sancho, when you have guys moving around and be more technical, Munhoz don't like that. He doesn't do too well. But Bryan Caraway is gonna just flat going to be flat in front of him, just coming forward. Perfect. Tailor-made for Pedro Munhoz to win. Tailor-made. That's it. Gonna sit in front of him and strike. It's an easy fight for him. Takedowns are there. He's a better ground artist. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I believe Bryan Caraway is a black belt too, I believe. But Bryan Caraway has some submissions too, so you never know. But I'm going to go with Pedro Munhoz for the win on this one, man. It's just tailor-made for him. It's a perfect fight for him to pull off the win. All right? So Pedro Munhoz, and I was going to say decision, but then I skipped to the sub. So I changed it to submission. All right? So Munhoz by submission, guys. Okay? That's a cool main event there. Main event, we got Rafael versus Kamaru Usman. This is a fight too that I saw, and like I said, you know, you don't need to watch much footages, but I still watch footages. Rafael is not bad, man. 30-degree black belt. Like I mentioned, I talked about earlier against, you know, when you have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys who are very good, match up against good wrestler who can avoid submissions. Usually, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner getting problem because they just want to lay on the back, trying to find submissions, and then the rounds go by, time go by, and then they end up losing the fight by decision. Just like Edmen Shahbazyan, same thing. You know, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but when he faces wrestlers, he doesn't do too well. He doesn't do as good. You know, Colby Covington did that to Rafael, he did that to Edmen Shahbazyan. You know, just aggressive takedown. You get them to the ground, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, you can work off top or bottom, but usually, you know, off your back, you can pull off submissions too. Yeah, and on top, you can do the same thing, just wherever you are, but then if you can't get it, then what happened? The wrestler is going to dominate on top, and that's what's happening. You know, Rafael, he doesn't do good against that. When you have a wrestler grinding him like that and take him down, he doesn't work too well from off his back after a while. After a while, he just starts to fade and he starts to gas out and start to get tired, right? So, I mean, that's what he's been doing. That is all I've been seeing for his career. Colby Covington, he did that. Tony Ferguson is a grinder. The same thing, Eddie Alvarez is a grinder. Even though Eddie Alvarez TKO him. Khabib Nurmagomedov, grinder. Gleason Tibor, grinder. Clay Guida is a freaking grinder, even though he had a jaw injury. Tyson Griffin, grinder. Jeremy Stevenson, grinder. So, you know, that's just his whole career. Just he never does good against these top level wrestlers. No, I mean top. That guys who are really good. That's gonna go in there and then single double leg you and avoid the submissions, right? Now, that being said, his opponent here, Usman, yeah, he's in my opinion a better wrestler than Covington is. You know, he has that same grindy, crafty wrestling. And you see in all his fights, he did to Edmen Shahbazyan the same thing that Colby Covington did. Strictly, and everybody he fights, he does the same thing. No, the only thing, no, he has one submission way back in 2013, right? Jose Caceres. Submission rear naked choke. No, you never know. In this game, there could always be upsets, man. Rafael 30-degree black belt. It all depends on the matchup. Everybody's different. No, all depends on the matchup. One person you might can do that to. You can do that to the next, third, fourth, fifth, and then you meet the sixth person that just a little different than what you usually face. That could be Rafael Lesanos. And, you know, Usman could go in here and go for takedowns, then bam, you get caught. Bam, just caught, very naked, or bam, into guillotine. Yeah, you just never know. You never know, you know. You just never know. So it's just one of those things where upsets will happen. There are always upsets, and you never know. Rafael has 9 by submission. So you never know. But that's what makes this game fun, man. That's why I always say, breaking down these cards and predicting them, it's not easy. It's not easy, man, because you could have confidence in one guy, and on paper it looks to be that way, and that's the way it's gonna be. It just has to be that way, but nothing has to be anyway. Always can be the other way. Always can be an upset, man. But I must say, Kamaru Usman though, and it's gonna be this similar thing that Colby Covington did to Rafael. It's a grind. or unless Rafael dos Santos catches him with a punch, knocks him out, or while Usman is taking him down, he get caught in a guillotine or get reversed into a rear naked. Believe me, it's possible. When I make the MMA betting for all the girls and all the guys I'm out there, because I know you guys like the odds thing, I'm going to do that separately. I'm going to explain, you know, when I look at the odds, whatever the odds are, the unders and even or whatever, or they are favorites, I'm going to explain why the guys shouldn't be that high or that low. I'm also going to explain, you know, when you're going to parlay, or if you're parlaying, you shouldn't play the guy no more than one or twice, because you never know. Like a fight like Rafael dos Santos and Kamaru Usman, you know, Kamaru Usman, because you never know, man. Probably shouldn't play him no more than twice if you're gonna do parlay. It all depends on what you're doing with my picks, but you shouldn't even put him in like 10 lineups or you know what I'm saying. Keep it to like 1 or 2 lineups, because you never know. Rafael dos Santos could be an upset, and if you have Usman in so many lineups and Rafael dos Santos hits, then your entire lineup is gone. Your entire parlays are gone, right? So again, it happens, man. It is what it is. You know, same thing with Pedro Munhoz, Bryan, Caraway, right? You just never know. Pedro Munhoz, I could see more beating Bryan Caraway. Usman and dos Santos, you know, Usman's supposed to win, but you never know, right? So that's it, guys. That's my prediction and breakdown for just Ultimate Fighter 28 heavy hitters, and I will be working on that next card because it's gonna be double headers. So that's gonna be the Santos versus Titus Savasa, right? So yeah, gonna be working on that one. It's Ultimate Fight Night, UFC Fight Night. Yeah, so that's it, guys. And I said I'm gonna make the betting odds on a different video. So look forward for that one. And that's it, guys. If any other guys are added onto this card, I'll just leave it in the comment box. Okay. Thanks for the subscription, guys. Thanks for the love, the positivity. Appreciate you know, the comments down below. Appreciate you guys leaving your picks down below. Like I said, you know, you guys leave your predictions and picks down below, and tell me why you have this guy winning or why you have this guy losing, and you know, let's all work together and stay positive. All right.